Number 19, we're using the quadratic formula to solve this problem, solve for x. We can see the formula right there. Okay, what do we need to do with the equation first, though, before we can use the quadratic formula? Set it equal to 0. How do we do that? Add the 3. So what is my equation then?
2x squared minus 4x equals 0.
Plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so that's the equation. And so what do we need to do next? Label A, B, and C. What is A? 2. What's B? And what is C? 3. Good, so now we're going to write our formula and plug all the numbers in, but be very careful. Everywhere you see the letter right, put parentheses. If you don't put the parentheses, you may make a mistake. So we're going to have x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay? So what goes in that very first parentheses then? Negative 4. What goes in the next one? Negative 4. What goes in the next one? And then the next one. And the last one? 2. Good. Okay, good. So now we've substituted all the values in. So now we're going to simplify until we get an answer. So first thing, x equals, what does negative 4 change into? Positive 4 plus or minus square root of, what is negative 4 squared? 16. That's very important that you have the parentheses there, or else it would end up negative, but it's positive. 16. Then we got negative 4 times 2 times 3. What's that? Negative 24. And this is going to be over? 4. Good. Okay, so after that step, what is next? Not yet. Right, you got to solve inside that square root first, okay? So 16 minus 24. So we're going to have x equals 4 plus or minus, what is 16 minus 24? Negative 8 over 4. All right, so now, what is next, you know? Get rid of the negative that's inside the square root, remember? We don't want the negative under the square root. How do we get rid of it? So this is going to, wow. This is going to change to x equals 4 plus or minus I square root of 8 over 4. Okay? Now what? Not yet. You can't do that until the very end. That's the very last step. Right, you got to simplify the square root of 8 because that's not broken down as far as it can go. What does square root of 8 break down into? Right, so now it's going to be 4 plus or minus I square roots of 4 times square root of 2, because square root of 4 times square root of 2 is the square root of 8. It's all over 4. Okay, what can we do from here? Right, make the square root of 4 into a 2. So we're going to have x equals 4 plus or minus, yeah, 2i. Whoa, 2i, this thing's so glitchy. 2i square roots of 2 over 4. And now for the last step that you guys have been saying over and over, what is the last step? You can't divide by 4 though, because 2 doesn't divide by 4. What can everything divide by? 2. By 2. So we're going to reduce by 2 here. And so when I divide all the terms by 2, what's my answer? X equals 2 plus or minus I. 2. Yeah, you don't change the one that's inside the square root. That just stays because it's locked under by the square root sign. Over? That's right. So we divided all the whole numbers by 2. And that's your final answer. X equals 2 plus or minus I square root of 2 over 2.